Hello students, today we will see the last part of Unit 5 History. So far we have completed up to the anti-caste movement, that is about Jyotiba Phule, Narayana Guru and Ayyankale. So today we will start with the Islamic reforms. After the suppression of Great Revolt of 1857, Indian Muslims looked to Western culture with suspicion. The community feared that Western education, Western culture and Western ideas would endanger their religion. Therefore, only a small section of Muslims accepted the new avenues for modern education. The Great Revolt happened in the year of 1857. So, after the suppression of Great Revolt, Indian Muslims had a doubt with the people who belonged to the Western culture. So why they had such doubt? Because the Western culture people, they are improving their education, their ideas and their culture in our country. So in future, the expansion of the Western culture would become a danger for their religion, for Muslims. So for that they have a fear to accept the Western people. So only a few group of Muslims have accepted the modern education and they voluntarily came to get the education from the Western culture. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, born in Delhi into a noble Muslim family. Syed Ahmad Khan thought that lack of education, especially modern education, had harmed the Muslims greatly and kept them backward. He exhorted the Muslims to accept Western science and take up government services. He founded a scientific society and translated many English books, especially science books, into Urdu. He believed that the interest of the Muslims would be best served if they bonded with the British government rather than pitch in with the rising nationalist movement. So he advised the Muslims to take to English education and to concentrate on it. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, he born in Delhi and he belongs to a noble Muslim family, that is a higher Muslim family. So he thought that in olden days people are lack of education, no? So many of them are illiterates. So they don't have the education knowledge. So this is the reason behind them to keep them backward. So this is the thought of Syed Ahmad Khan. So he advised the Muslim people to accept the Western education, that is the modern education, and to get the job under British government. He translated many English books into Urdu, especially the science books. He thought that instead of joining in the rising nationalist movement, if they join together with the British government, their life would be better. So this makes him to advise the Muslim people to learn the English education. Aligarh movement. Syed Ahmad Khan's movement, the Aligarh movement, is so called because it was centered around the Aligarh Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College founded by him in 1875, which is a landmark in the history of Indian Muslim education. The college was raised to the status of a university in 1920. So now we will see about the Aligarh movement. So Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, he started a college which is named as Aligarh Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College. So this is founded by him in the year of 1875, and also he started a movement which is named as Aligarh movement because he found a college which is Aligarh Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College. No, so the movement also named as Aligarh movement because it imposes about this college. And also this college is an important landmark in the history of Indian and Muslim education. So this college was promoted to a university in the year of 1920. Deoband movement. Deoband was a revivalist movement organized by the Orthodox Muslim ulema. The ulema, under the leadership of Muhammad Qasim Banatowi and Rashid Ahmad Gangotri, founded the school at Deoband in the Saharanpur district of the UP in 1866. The school curricula shut out English education and Western culture. The instruction imparted was in original Islamic religion, and the aim was moral and religious regeneration of the Muslim community. Maulana Mahmud ul Hasan became the new Deoband leader. The Jamaat ul Ulema, led by him, gave a concrete shape to Hasan's ideas of protection of the religious and political rights of the Muslim in the overall context of Indian unity. Deoband movement. So Deoband, it is a revivalist movement and it was started by the Muslim community which is named as Ulema. So this Ulema is led by the Muhammad Qasim Banatowi and Rashid Ahmad Gangotri. So these two people led the Ulema group and they started a school in the Saharanpur district. So the main motive of this school is to promote the original Islamic region. So they are against the English education and the Western culture. So their aim and moral was to regenerate their Muslim community. The new leader of Deoband movement is Maulana Mahmud ul Hasan. So he led the Jamaat ul Ulema and it expressed his ideas. It expressed the Hasan's ideas. So his ideas are about how to protect their religion and how to protect their rights, their political rights. So these are all the ideas of Hasan and it is expressed by him through the Jamaat ul Ulema. Farsi reform movement. In the middle of the 19th century, the reform activities began in Mumbai. Fardunji, the reform activities had also started in Punjab. The Fardunji Nauroji, he founded the Pasas Reform Society in Punjab. The main motive of this Sabha is Rast Gufta. So Rast Gufta means the truth teller. So this is the main motive of this movement. And Behramji Malabari, so he started a movement to make a law against the child marriage. And also the community, this community had produced many leaders. So they play a big role in the early Congress. The name of the leaders are Feroz Shah Mehta and Deen Shah Wacha. Sikh reform movement, Nirankaris and Namdaris. Among the Sikhs of Punjab too, there were attempts to reform. Baba Dayal Das, founder of the Nirankari movement, stressed the worship of God as Nirankar, rejection of idols, rejection of rituals associated with idolatry, reverence for the authority of Guru Nanak and of the Adi Granth formed the essence of his teachings. He reiterated the prohibition on meat eating and liquor consumption. The Namdari movement, founded by Baba Ram Singh, was another socio-religious movement among the Sikhs. The Namdaris insisted on wearing the symbols of Sikhism except the kirpan sword. Instead, Baba Ram Singh wanted his followers to carry a lati. It considered both men and women equal and accepted widow remarriage. It prohibited the dowry system and child marriage. So the reform movements had also started in Punjab. So the first movement which has started in Punjab is Nirankari movement and it was started by Baba Dayal Das. So the worship of God as Nirankar. So Nirankar means formless. That is, we want to worship the God without any image or statue. Okay. And also it is related to the idolatry. That is anti-idolatry. So this thing is the main motive of Nirankari movement. He respects the Guru Nanak and the Adi Granth which form the essence of his teaching. and also he advised to prohibit the meat eating and the consumption of liquor. The Nirankari movement was started by Baba Dayal, but the Namdari movement was started by Baba Ram Singh. So the main motive of this movement is to make the Sikh people to wear the symbols of Sikhism, that is except the kirpan, that is sword. Okay, so instead of carrying sword, they want to carry the lati with them, and also it supports the widow remarriage, and it taught that both men and women are equal. And also this movement, this Namdari movement, is against the dowry system and the child marriage. So at the time of the rise of the Arya Samaj and the Christian missionaries, Singh Sabha was also started in Amritsar. So the main motive of Singh Sabha is to restore the purity of Sikhism. So they have also started a Khalsa college for the Sikh people with the support of the British. Social reformers of Tamil Nadu. Ramalinga Swamigal, popularly known as Valalar. Ramalinga Swamigal or Ramalinga Adigal was born in Marudur, a village near Chidambaram. After his father's death, his family moved to his brother's house at Chennai. Despite having no formal education, he gained immense scholarship. Ramalinga emphasized the bonds of responsibility and compassion between living beings. He expressed the view that those who lack compassion for suffering beings are hard-hearted, their wisdom clouded. He showed his compassion and mercy on all living beings, including plants. This he called as Jiva Karunya. He established the Samarasa Veda Sanmarga Sangam in 1865, and it was renamed as Samarasa Suddha Sanmarga Satya Sangam, which means Society for Pure Truth in Universal Selfhood. Ramalinga also established a free feeding house for everyone, irrespective of caste, at Vadalur in the year of 1867, in the wake of a terrible famine in South India in 1866. His voluminous songs were compiled and published under the title Tiruvarutpa, Songs of Grace. Hope you all learned about Ramalinga Adigalar. He is also known as Valalar. He born in Marudur, a village near Chidambaram. So he and his family moved to Chennai after his father's death. Though he had no formal education, he gained scholarship. So he told that, according to Ramalinga Adigalar, so he told that people should have the hope and the mercy between the living beings. People should have such bonds between the living beings. If a person who does not show the mercy on the suffering people, he is considered as hard-hearted people according to him, according to Valalar. This is one of his quote. And he showed the mercy on all the living beings, including plants. So this is what he called as Jiva Karunya. So he started a Sangam which is named as Samarasa Veda Sanmarga Sangam. It was started in the year of 1865, and then the name of the Sangam is changed as Samarasa Suddha Sanmarga Satya Sangam. Okay, the meaning of this Sangam is, it is a Sangam for pure truth in the universal, in the whole universe. He also started a free feeding house to give food for all the people without any discrimination. So he started the free feeding house at Vadalur in the year of 1867. The reason behind the starting of this free feeding house is because India has faced a terrible drought in the year of 1866. So for that he started the free feeding house, and also his songs were compiled, were collected and published. So the title for his song is Tiruvarutpa. Ayothi Dasar. Pandidar Ayothi Dasar was a radical Tamil scholar, writer, Siddha medicine practitioner, journalist and socio-political activist. Born in Chennai, he was fluent in Tamil, English, Sanskrit and Bali languages. He campaigned for social justice and worked for the emancipation of the untouchables from the caste clutches. He worked for the construction of a casteless identity and castigated caste hegemony and untouchability. He considered education as an important tool for empowerment and became the driving force behind the establishment of several schools for the untouchables in Tamil Nadu. Pandidar Ayothi Dasar founded the Advaitananda Sabha to raise the voice for the temple entry of the untouchables. In 1882, John Rathinam and Ayothi Dasar established a movement called Dravida Kalagam and launched a magazine called Dravida Pandian in 1885. He founded the Dravida Mahajana Sabha in 1891 and organized the first conference of the association at Nilgiris. Pandidar Ayothi Dasar was disappointed with the Hindu Dharma, which served as the basis for propagating and validating caste in Hindu society. Influenced by the Theosophist organizer Colonel H.S. Olcott, he went to Sri Lanka in 1898 and converted to Buddhism. In the same year, he founded the Sagaya Buddhist Society at Madras to construct the rational religious philosophy through Buddhist religion. He started a weekly journal, Oru Paisa Tamilan, in 1907 and published it until his demise in 1914. So Ayothi Dasar, he is a Tamil scholar, writer, Siddha doctor, journalist and political activist. He born in Chennai. He know the languages Tamil, English, Sanskrit and Bali. So he want to make the lower class people to get relief from the caste discrimination. So for that, he organized a campaign for the caste discrimination and the untouchables. And also he thought that only through education we can improve the life of lower caste people. So for that, he started a school. He started several number of schools for the untouchables in Tamil Nadu. In olden days, some people are declared as untouchable people and they are not allowed to enter into the temple and they are not allowed into public places. So for that, he started a Sabha which is named as Advaitananda Sabha. So it is to raise the voice for the temple entry of the untouchable people. And also he started a movement called Dravida Kalagam. So he launched a magazine which is named as Dravida Pandian. Dravida Mahajana Sabha is also started by him and the first conference of this Sabha is held at Nilgiris. So Ayothi Dasar is influenced by Colonel H.S. Olcott. So he is the founder of Theosophical movement, right? So he was influenced by him and he went to Sri Lanka. That is, Ayothi Dasar went to Sri Lanka and converted to Buddhism. In the year of 1898, he started a movement which is named as Sakya Buddhist Society in Chennai. So through this, he wanted to express the philosophy of Buddhist religion. And also he started a weekly journal which is named as Oru Paisa Tamilan. It is started in the year of 1907 and it is continued till 1940. Demise means it is continued until his death. So the weekly journal has published for 7 years and it has stopped in the year of 1914. So in 1914 the First World War starts.